Well, hello everybody, it is Kyle here from Unboxed Autos, and today I'm really excited to be in the 2022 Audi S3. Now, this vehicle is all new for 2022. We're going to go ahead and talk about all of the details in this review. We're also going to go ahead and take it for a spin as well up here in the mountains. I have the keys right here, so let's get started. We are out here with the all-new 2022 Audi S3. Now, the S3 sits in between the range-topping performance monster RS3 and then the standard A3 sedan. But as you guys can probably tell if you've seen, the previous version of the Audi A3 or S3, it looks really completely different, a much larger stance, more aggressive styling, and Audi has just really done an incredible job with the LED lighting on this car. There's a little light show, it starts up, that's super cool. We'll come around to the back here and show you guys what the light show looks like there as well. Audi really is the best in the segment for LED lighting. Unlock gives you some welcome lights. It's just really cool. I always love that little touch that they do. And again, this car really looks significantly more aggressive than its predecessor, and that is thanks to, it's actually physically larger as well than the previous model. So the S3 is actually 1.5 inches longer than the previous model, and again, entirely new body panels, entirely new styling right here. Here we have these 19-inch Audi Sport wheels. We have the S brake calipers, and right now we're riding on some winter rubber, so we're not really quite able to totally, feel the performance capabilities of the S3, obviously given the time of the year. But I can tell you, it's an incredible vehicle that Audi has made here. Even as far as performance capabilities go, it's very, very impressive. Now, one of the things that is really important, obviously, in any S vehicle is going to be the engine, and this new vehicle actually has a little bit more power as well. So it's not just from a design standpoint, it's actually a little bit more power under the hood. Right now, the standard A3 comes with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 201 horsepower and 221 foot-pounds of torque, and everything is to a 7-speed dual clutch S-tronic transmission. Now, for the first time on the A3, a standard 48-volt mild hybrid system provides a boost when driving off, so it is to give the engine, a little bit more pull at those low speeds around town. But for the S3, which is obviously what we are looking at here, it actually has an impressive 306 horsepower and 295 foot-pounds of torque, and that again is through a 2-liter 4-cylinder. It's actually 18 more horsepower and 15 more torque over its predecessor, and it goes from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.5 seconds. Now, this is an all-wheel drive, quattro all-wheel drive vehicle, and when you step inside, you really do get the sense of sport. Now, even the door handles here, they're really nifty. They actually kind of take after the front headlight as far as their design goes. And when you really think about grabbing a door handle, this actually makes a lot of sense since you always kind of come up from underneath, so it's really convenient to grab it. Right here we have a couple of memory settings, 2 different options for that. We have some stitching here on the door panels. This is the range topping S3, so fully loaded is what we're looking at here. Oops. Now, when we're inside here, I'm sure you guys can probably notice, if you're thinking about the previous A3 or S3, completely new interior design, fully takes after the new Audi design language, which is very welcome, and it really is a completely more upscale feel. And look how these air vents, they're directed right towards the driver, angled towards the driver a little bit, give it a very sporty feel. We'll go ahead and start. Now, the start button on the S3 is black and has a outlined red there, a little bit of an update. That is always a nice touch. I like that start button. Now, the interior as a whole, really comfortable. Love the S seats. It's a very iconic Audi S seats with the beautiful diamond stitching. It looks phenomenal. Perforated steering wheel here as part of the S line, and fully reconfigurable gauge cluster as well. This is my favorite look, but we can also go ahead and change that into, dials if we prefer, something, a little bit less intense from a gauge cluster perspective. This one gives you a little bit more information about the overall vehicle. But I like the tachometer front and center. Right now we have the vehicle in dynamic mode. So there's this button right here called Drive Select. If we press that, we can go dynamic, auto, comfort, and individual. Gives you some different settings for the drive, the suspension, the steering, and the engine sound. So I like the steering to be a little more on the sporty side, so I'll go for balanced. It's the S3, so we have to have maximum exhaust note. Suspension balance, drive balance, but then again there's also the comfort setting if you prefer that, and then dynamic for when we're really trying to experience the S3 at its fullest, and that's what we're here to do today. We also have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay capabilities, which is great. We have onboard navigation as well, and one of the things that I really am surprised and happy about is the premium Bang & Olufsen sound system in this vehicle. It's really very, very good. And a lot of times in the smaller vehicles, it's not always the first thought for them to go ahead and place a really high-end sound system in this vehicle, but they did that, and again, it's really impressive. I'll get some specs for the stereo system, and we'll go ahead and talk about those. But it allows a lot of different changes. They have, obviously its own subwoofer and bass changes you can adjust, but then what's really important is the surround sound level. So you have surround and a 3D effect, so it really gives you that immersive sound experience, even in, a smaller, more entry-level vehicle like the Audi A3 and S3. So again, love that. I think it's phenomenal. They went a little bit above and beyond with the premium stereo system. And yeah, overall the build quality is what you would expect from an Audi vehicle. It feels really good inside. Love the new updated design. I think it's very sporty, again, with how everything's sort of angled towards the driver. And then over here, the passenger has their own area that they feel like is, kind of part of them. Is we kind of get this split here. This is angled towards us, but then this from here on is angled a bit towards the passenger. So it really gives them more comfort, in my opinion. We also have 2 air vents for them right here. Really nice trim. We have this exposed carbon fiber trim here, Quattro all-wheel drive badging, real metal trim throughout. So yeah, it's just a really high quality vehicle. I think they really stepped up their game, with this all new A3, S3, and RS3 models. So right now we're gonna go ahead though and take it for a spin and see what it's made of. Alright guys, so we are here in dynamic mode. Now, I really love just the different personalities that this car has. And let me tell you, it's really impressive, again, what modern technology and engineering is able to do. And that's really apparent here in the S3. Now, all of that torque, just over 300 foot-pounds of torque, just really propels this thing super quick, and it sounds really good too. We have, again, Quattro all-wheel drive here, so it really just hugs the road. And again, we're even riding again on winter tires here. It's really cold, so you can just imagine what it would be like in the summertime somewhere with some proper summer rubber on them. But again, just driving this car really makes you feel like you're part of the machine. It's just one of those cars that gives you such a good, fun, engaging driving experience that you just really can't wait, to get back in it again. The 7-speed Tiptronic, just instant response, downshift, instantaneous. And again, the exhaust note, on this car is really good. Even, you know, well, to get the really good exhaust note, you really have to have it in dynamic mode. You know, again, in individual mode with it, the exhaust mode in present, as they call it, which is the loudest exhaust mode that you can get. It's good, and you do get a little pop and rattle here and there, but to really get it, you really need to be in dynamic mode and really, you know, get into it to really, you know, to really hear it. And every time you back off the throttle, you know, you can hear it gurgling and burping, and it's just a really fun feeling. Every once in a while, too, you'll get a loud crack, which again is always fun. There we go, got one there. So yeah, it really makes you feel like you're driving something special, and you are. You know, this car is really, you know, it's made for the track, and it just hugs the road. It's really great. And then, you know, braking comes in nice, really smooth brakes, plenty of grip on the brakings, and especially once you get in those higher RPM bands, when you really, you know, get to hear it, it's really, the engine just really comes to life. Also love how responsive, you know, the brakes are, because in racing, the braking is, you know, obviously extremely important when you're on the track. So this car is really fully capable of you know, getting onto the track right off of the lot. And it's, again, just incredible what they were able to do with this car to make it as sporty and performance orientated as it is, but then also how they were able to, you know, give it a much quieter and calmer personality. For instance, we'll go ahead right here, we'll drop it right into drive, we'll hit the dynamic select button, we'll go into comfort mode. Instantaneously, everything's significantly quieter. We went from hearing the engine roaring to hardly can even hear it operating now. And it's just this ultra quiet, calm, you know, machine. And the steering instant response change, you know, it's very soft now. Suspension is, you know, feels lighter, feels softer. Exhaust, don't even hear it. So again, what is just so great about these higher end vehicles is just the amount of change they're able to do it. This is literally the press of a button. We'll go back into dynamic mode. Alright, engine spooled up. I hear it. It's louder, and it's ready. You know, it's ready to get going again. So yeah, I really can't say enough positive things about driving this little guy. It is pretty pricey. It's about you know, $60,000 for a fully loaded S3. Obviously, you know, if you want something a little bit even more crazy, they have the S3. So it depends on how much you want to spend there. Gives more power. You know, it's a more intense vehicle. The RS models have always been above the S models. They're just a little more intense. But, you know, again, if you just want something with a sporty flair that, you know, has a lot of power, will give you some fun, the S3 is definitely a great way to go. Love the balance of this car. Feels really good to drive, and yeah, it makes driving fun.